Talk, ladies, gentlemen, and whatever gender I didn't care to remember. In any case, we're here to talk about red pill versus blue pill. Now, I know you're thinking that we're going to be discussing the Matrix once again, but we have an episode for that. It's called the one with solipsism or whatever it was named. In any case, today we'll be talking about, alpha male ideology. What makes a man a red pilled man? What makes a man a blue pilled man? Is one superior to another? And is there anything we can do to find a middle ground in all of this? Tune in and find out. Hey, yo, 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 welcome to TUC Talk, ladies and gentlemen. Here we're going to talk about female issues without actually having any females present because we're like Fox News in that way. How the fuck is everybody doing?
For some reason, I think they're just scared of us.
Off to a good start.
Yeah, awesome. Let's do a mental health check-in, you radical bros. So, as always, it's 1, I want to die. 2, my life is pointless. 3, nothing matters. 4, my life sucks now. 5, whatever. 6, I'm content. 7, I'm grateful. 8, I'm in a good place. 9, I'm excited about life. And 10, couldn't be better. Let's start with you, Sean. How many bitches are blowing up your phone right now?
Oh, none. None. Let's say none.
9. You said 9.
None. But I will say I'm sitting at a good 8 right now. Pretty. I wouldn't say I'm content, but I have.
What's got you at an 8?
Huh?
What's got you at an 8? Holy shit.
I'm just just kind of excited to see where life is heading. There's a few things kind of I guess, building in the background that I'm just kind of waiting to see how they go and play out at this point. So, I guess I'm not excited about life. So I'm not at a 9, but I'm in a good place enough to be there's some things going on right now that I'm kind of interested in seeing how they play out.
Damn, bro, I like the ambiguity, but you better plug that shit at the end of the podcast. Know your fucking place. But I'm glad shit is working out for you, man. What makes you so excited about the future? Isn't the unknown scary to you? How do you do it?
I mean, I am kind of obviously there's a few things about the unknown that are bothering me. I will say, honestly, this has been a rather up and down, shitty, but happy year. And I guess
it's almost over.
It's almost over. So basically, I guess that's the good part. But the other stuff that's going on. So I'll say I'm currently job hunting. There's a potential job, interview in the works right now that I'm looking forward to. Been dancing a lot more. It seems like I've been getting better. So that might become something even more frequent going into next year. Just looking forward to a bunch of different artistic endeavors and job stuff.
Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit. Anyways, that's all great to hear. And once again, you better plug it at the end or I'll break your legs. You'll never dance again. Donnie, how are we?
I'm content right now. Basically, I'm emotionless. I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm just
neutral.
Yeah, I'm neutral. Yeah.
For those of us who's watching this and this is their first episode, that's actually quite good for Donnie. In comparison to a lot of the other answers we've gotten, that has actually been delightful here. I'm so glad.
Exactly.
I'm so glad you're a great neutral, Donnie. But you've got some exciting stuff going on. He's leaving early because his social life is far superior to us, ladies and gentlemen. He is coming out of the woodworks with friends. It's almost like, how can he claim to be antisocial when he always has to fucking do
it? David claimed he had 0 friends, episode 3. Now all of a sudden he has these coffee dates.
No, I never said I had 0 friends. I said I don't hang out.
He got models taking care of him when he's sick.
He is the unreliable narrator in his life story, which means someone else has to write that memoir, buddy.
As I said, I peep game.
There's no game being
The game has been peeped. Watch out for him. But
hide your wife, fellas. Hide your wife.
You're sending out this wrong message.
I'm flying her in from the Middle East. Allah be praised. Okay, so that's great to hear, Donnie. and we'll be sure to see if we can poke that apart later on. Liddell, you're gracing us with your presence. We want to know how you're doing. You don't have to go into detail because we heard a lot before this podcast that probably cannot be said on this podcast.
Yeah, it definitely cannot be said on this podcast. But
Yes.
I'm at like about I'm probably the lowest amongst all of you. I'm at like a 4 right now, and
Oh,
that's
challenge accepted. I'm at a 2. I'm kidding. Go for
Oh
it.
my god.
I'm at a 4 right now. But I already know that basically by the end of the day, I will most likely be at like a 7 because my idea, like my life sucks right now, could be like a blessing to other people, which is why I try not to complain too much. It's just that the space and life that I'm in right now, I'm not accustomed to being. I don't like the feeling of it, but I know that it's only temporary. But that's why I try to hold on to the fact that okay, like this is a temporary set of emotions, and that this too shall pass. And then, like about 7 hours from now, I'm gonna look back at the time this record this podcast. I'm gonna look at back and like, man, like why did I say a whole bunch of this shit? Know that I don't feel that way anymore. So that's why I say for right now, I'm at a 4. But I'm almost sure that by the end of the day, I'll be like at a 7 because it could be worse. It could be worse, and
That's the spirit.
Very positive.
yeah.
Nice, bros. Nice. Well, okay, so I guess I'm at a 5 or 6. Nothing too bad. It's funny because like earlier this week I was like, damn, my social life sucks. But then like people keep inviting me to shit like party after party, and then like today someone's literally paying for me to be at a jazz performance with them, and I'm like, oh wow, human beings actually like me. Huh? That's a shock. But
Do you like jazz?
yeah, I love jazz. Honestly, I was like, wow, that's really considerate of you. How do you know so much about me? Who sent you? Why are you trying to destroy me? That's some paranoid shit. But yeah, no, honestly, and this is a great topic because I know we've all been taking some fat L's when it comes to romance, so this is probably perfect for us. Otherwise, yeah, things are pretty great. I got accepted to a new school. Work is fine, and
Oh, congratulations.
yeah, bro, thanks. And
Congrats.
plenty of cougars are after me, so that's always good. Um, Anyways, let's
Can't
lead
let the
on to
coolest.
our topic, and again, this is the
Oh
blue pill
shit!
versus red.
What
That
happened?
was very blue pill of you. That was very blue pill of you.
What was that?
Some freak out, but okay, the topic is blue
Wait.
pill versus red pill ideology. Now, the pop-ups can come whenever. I can just start going since Donnie has to go. But so this is something that even Donnie doesn't know about, and I understand that most people aren't in the know because when you think of like red pill versus blue pill, you're thinking of the Matrix, where that shit actually comes from. And
Yeah.
again, like I said in our opening, um, this ties into that topic of solipsism that we had a few podcasts ago, where being red pilled was essentially being awakened to how the world really is, like how society really is. Like everything is a fabricated construct, essentially. You are an awoken individual. Meanwhile, everyone else is just taking blue pill. They're still being sheep. They're still sedated. Things like that. But it quickly evolved over time, like say around the mid 2000s when, feminism had achieved everything it aimed to achieve, and now they don't know what to do with themselves, and now everything is like misogynistic, and everything is sexist for them. You know what I mean? They kind of got all the go. I don't want this to be a criticism of feminism because there are some good points, and men are assholes sometimes, but they achieved everything they needed to, and a lot of men felt like that they were reaching now, that they're just like limiting men's rights. So those who see it that way feel that they are really awoken, red pilled, if you will, to what's called hypergamy, and that's like it's kind of like patriarchy, except it's like women and their dominance of society. Like, oh, if I get married to a chick and we get divorced, she gets the kids, and I have to pay her. How is that? How is that patriarchy? You know what I mean? That kind of logic. But in the modern day, it just means being red pilled means like not prescribing to being the nice guy, being a gentleman all the time, being someone who's always supportive of a woman, someone who's like this feminist ally, and not exactly being a dick. Yeah, a lot of people think being a dick is like what women want, but just being your own alpha male, being independent, not doing things for the sake of a woman's affection, and occasionally tearing them down if they build themselves too high, which on paper isn't entirely bad, but it has led to some toxic things, and they have really bad PR over it. But you know what? Let's get to the first question where we can really tear this shit apart. And that first question is, after my long definition of being red pilled or blue pilled, what do you guys consider yourselves to be? And I'll start with Sean, since he clearly has a high opinion of himself. So Sean, tell us, are you red pilled or are you blue pilled, man? And this doesn't even need to be. I understand that a lot of people watching this, a lot of people on this panel aren't exactly specifically attracted to women, but a lot of what I said can apply to people who, enjoy the presence of all genders.
Mm. All right. See, I'm not. I guess I'm still not entirely sure what the red pill, blue pill argument is
Mm.
enough to say where I guess I would fit
Okay.
in.
Okay, I'll try to help. So, a blue pill guy essentially would be like your mainstream, what you consider a gentleman. I pull out the chair for you, I open the door for you, I pay for the date. A
Oh,
red pill gentleman would not do any of that. No, you split half. I'm not. Hey, you're a woman and equal rights. You pull your own goddamn chair. I will just be there and be a strong masculine presence, and not go overboard with the whole affection or like making you love poems or like doing things romantically.
Okay. All right. So I guess given that standard, then I'm probably gonna sound hilarious to say I would be the purple pill.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
you
I knew you were gonna say that. That's a thing.
The purple pill, the kind of like the balance where it's just like both. I am like a gentleman at certain point, like I'm a gentleman at certain points, but I also believe in like equal.
equality.
Yeah, sorry. I believe in like the equality where it's just like we can go on dates, whatever. I probably shouldn't have to pay everything. You can pay as much as I can, or we can split the difference. I'll take care of you. You can take care of me. Kind of thing. Like everything should kind of have like a balance. I don't really believe this whole the alpha male thing where I have to do everything for you and take care of you,
Mhm.
provide and stuff like that. But I also don't think it should be, you know her job to do it either, or his job, whoever, his job to take care of me. We should be two people just kind of, I guess, taking care of each other.
No, I feel you. Yeah, I feel you. And before I go on to Donnie, one more dimension I want to add to this is most of you probably know what an incel is, where it's like this guy who like becomes such a reclusive shut-in that he becomes like actually dangerous because he feels
Hates
that no
women,
one,
right?
yeah, that no woman wants to sleep with him, therefore all women are bad. I
Mm,
wanted to add that dimension kind of because that reaction to women, in the sexual marketplace attaining more power has led a lot of guys to go in different directions. Like there, you have your incels who have isolated themselves. You have those alpha male douchebags who just want to treat women like shit and think that's what they want. And then there's those guys that kind of key onto it, but like key onto the right things. Like, okay, she's talking to a lot of other guys, so let me not take this too seriously, or really get my feelings in this, or be like emotionally invalidated or whatnot. So that's another dimension. I think Sean touched upon that with the whole purple pill thing. But Donnie, shut up for a second and let Liddell tell us whether or not he's a blue or red pill person.
That's my cue.
Yes.
Okay, well, all right. This is my thoughts on it. Obviously, we have YouTube nowadays where there's this thing called the manosphere, where basically like, you have these guys that tell you like, oh, like I'm a red pill guy, or I'm an alpha male, or like, oh, you do these things that you're a beta and this and that. Me, I guess I'll kind of fall on the same lines as Sean. Like, I'm kind of like a balance in a sense. Like, I'm not a pushover, but two, I do have a romantic side and a sensitive side. But at the same time, I do not allow those two things to kind of like, I don't use those things as like a way to like get women, so to speak. Like I be myself, right? And basically, I'm all about respect. I have a moral code, and I don't go by like I'm gonna do this by a certain book because this is what it says a alpha male is supposed to be. Because we associate the term alpha with the red pill, we associate the term beta with blue pill. Like I'm not, I'm just me. I just do things how I do things, and if you love it, cool. If you don't, then all right, then keep it pushing. Like I feel like when we get so stuck on the term of red pill and blue pill, we're kind of like we're putting ourselves in the box. And me, I don't like to categorize myself in a box and be like, oh, like this is how I am, point blank period. Like I have layers to me. And I feel like there's some people that can have like red pill like ideologies and also blue pill ideologies. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing. You know, it all depends in regards to like like obviously like you have to like proceed with caution like and you have to be careful the type of people that you interact with because there might be some women that are turned on by those so-called red pill traits, but is that necessarily the best possible thing? Like that could lead to like a lot of toxicity. Like, do we really want that? There might be some women that's love like the beta, like the blue pill beta aspect of a man, but is that necessarily the best thing for you? You know what I mean? So I said like you just have to like proceed with caution. I feel like too much of anything is a bad thing. Like if you're too like red pill stuff, like you're too alpha, like you be oh I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna like be degraded towards women, or I'm gonna act a certain way towards women, I'm gonna blame women for all my problems, then you fall to like incel territory in a sense. But you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, and you worship the ground that women walk on. You're setting yourself up to be a pushover. So I feel like you gotta find a balance.
Nice, bro. Nice. Okay, Donnie, let's round it out.
I mean,
You savage.
I will say I just hate we're constantly being judged for the shit that we do and the way that generations before us has acted and stuff like that. So the red pill and blue pill theory is I think it's so fucking stupid. What Liddell and Sean said, I think it's great to have a balance of both. Um, but I will say I lean more blue, mainly because I'm a guy who doesn't like confrontation. Not to say that I won't get into a confrontation, but I rather talk it out than actually fight it out. And to society, that may be seen as like a beta thing. I'm very well in tune with my feelings and stuff like that. So I guess that's another side of me lining with the blue pill. So if I had to choose, I think it just has to be like a blue pill.
I've never heard of anyone actually like saying choosing the blue pill because they're always like afraid to. You know what I mean? That's always like
Yeah,
seen as something
that's
that's
what I'm
not.
saying. It's like I will say like I align more so with the blue side of things because I'm like water. Like I'm very like flowing and like willing to go with any change. And that's not to say that
Of course, you're
oh
like, well, you're Pisces, the
yeah,
fish.
yeah,
This
that's
shit
exactly.
again.
Um and
I mean, you
and
set
when
me up for it.
and when people and when people say like oh you let people walk over you or that may show a sign of people walking over you, it's like no, it's like I just I don't get worked up over a lot of things. And like I'm more willing and able to see the other side of people and the other side of things. And I think that just comes off as like as a beta male move.
All right, quick question: do you feel that people around you respond favorably to like your blue pill beta tendencies, or do you feel like they use that against you most of the time? The fact that you are the way you are.
I will say people do try to test that and they find out very quickly
That
that
you're about that
that's
life.
Yeah,
yeah,
why do
like
people love
And that I'm
pushing
not that
buttons? I don't get it. Like people find it attractive when you lose your shit, apparently, and that's just like such a dangerous game.
right. And that's like the last thing I do. The last thing I do is resort to violence. Like So it's like I don't know, but I'm saying as society standards, yes, I would be considered a beta male, I guess, but I don't know. I show signs of like ultra alpha male aggression, so it's a slippery slope, I think.
Man,
But
yeah, I just really appreciate that because people come on this podcast assuming, because it's all men, it's just gonna be like toxic, like yeah, we're all red pill. But no,
yeah,
we're giving some really rational, really modern answers, and I love that.
yeah,
Well,
and I'm just like I'm a very chill and kind-hearted guy.
Mhm.
So by
yeah,
society's standards, I'm considered a beta.
yeah,
But
man.
I just
Okay, but those are society standards. Like based off your own standards, like what would you say you are? Forget like the whole society definition of
okay. So
red
what?
pill,
So
blue
what would
pill.
I consider myself?
Mm.
I just had the word. If I can describe myself, is non-judgmental and understanding. That's it.
Okay, so in other
So
words, you don't give a fuck.
yeah, I mean, you guys already know that. So
And I mean that in the best way possible. Like when I
yeah,
said
that's
like
what I'm
you don't
saying.
give.
But if I was to have like a conversation with like other males outside this podcast,
Mhm.
that's something that would be considered a beta move, right? Like, oh, like you just let things like roll off your chest, or you don't assert yourself enough, or you don't
First part, not so much, because they generally like. If you go on these red pill sites, they'll tell you why did you let that woman make you lose your cool? She said you had a little dick. I mean, like if a 4-year-old said that to you, how would you react?
we
Therefore, why?
fighting.
Yeah, just treat them like that, and you'll
Wait,
find.
you'll fight a 4 year.
Yeah,
I
they,
don't give a fuck.
Push.
yeah,
Nah, ain't no
but
pushing. We scrapping hands.
yeah, no talking, no nothing through. um, no, but
Me
it's
too.
like
That
that.
was a joke.
They argue like you wouldn't get mad if like a kid teased you, like a little baby teased you, so just treat her like that. And it's like really condescending, but maybe there's some truth in there. So yeah, the first part letting it roll off your shoulders, like I don't give a fuck what you say, completely fine.
Yeah,
Very well,
I,
Donnie.
I I
Very
think
well.
I think people are just afraid of like being real and like showcasing their real selves, and that's where we get these like red pill and blue pill debates and stuff like that.
Yo, somebody's listening to some fucking Elder Barge, and I'm feeling it.
Just bring mom on the podcast next time. We'll do a mother's day
Yeah,
episode.
I could just open my door right now. You'll hear all the background music that's
yeah.
playing on
Yeah,
in this house right now.
I'm here. All this
well,
love by Elder Barge. That's a classic right there.
nice. Well, I guess if it's my turn, I'd probably say I'm pink pill because bitches are so terrible. I'm just gay now. I'm kidding. But, when you this journey is so awful, I went back to men. That as if it would be any better. My gay friends tell me that like dating men is quite terrible too, but they go through their own struggles. But no, yeah, no. A lot of what you guys said rings true. Like sometimes I like to think of myself as like, oh, I'm red pill Kenny, hoo. But like in reality, like relationships and like romance does have me turned into a bitch every now and then. Like I do shit that I would not do normally with my rational mind, because like the emotional part of my brain is just taking my wieners doing the walking for me. It always gets me into trouble. But
Yeah,
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 yeah, the best success I have is when I just don't care. Like Donnie put it, like today, I got it. This fairly older, much more established woman who's very good looking, objectively, is paying for a date. This is a third or fourth date that she's trying to pay for me to go on the jazz club with her. Very early on, she established she doesn't want anything serious and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it's kind of a little disappointing because I'm ready to jump back into the relationship train. So I was just like, you know what, sure, if you don't want that, that's fine. Can't change your mind. let me just um let me just have fun with this. Sure, I don't care anymore. And it's been nothing but successful. But like the moment I do actually care and I'm emotionally compromised, it's just like, oh, I'm making all the wrong decisions here. What's going on? Fuck you, God. But it's just yeah, no, I wouldn't say I'm either red pilled or blue pilled because it really gives a context. Because like when you're thinking about the person you want to like spend your life with, or like this being the last relationship, you can't really be red pilled in a way. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can't really act like you don't care because they will assume you don't care, and then they don't want anything to do with you. But if you act like you care too much, then it's unattractive at first.
Right.
So it's like it's just like finding this balance in between and just getting lucky, honestly, because a problem with this whole dualist structure is that you're like generalizing all women or generalizing all men in a way. Like, oh, I can only act this way because that's the only way she'll act in the way that I want. And like, no, everyone's an individual and complicated. Like, some women are mature that they see those so-called blue pill values and like, this is a great guy. Like, I am I need to realize that I'm not gonna have be young and have fun forever. Like this is the kind of guy that I can be secure with, and we can actually build something. Um, so yeah, so not every woman's like that. I'm sure like when they're in their 18 or like their early 20s, when they're I'm trying to find the PC word for the R word. Uh,
Wait, what's the R
Mentally
word?
disabled.
You know what the R word is.
Yeah, you know what that word is. I'm not saying it because we'll have to cut it out anyway, so why say it? But yeah, when they're in their 18 to like early 20s, most people that age are the R word, and there's no.
Underdeveloped.
Sure, yeah, exactly. The hypothalamus is not developed, and neither is the rest of them. So they don't really know what they want and what's good for them. But other people, they're a bit more mature than that, and they recognize what that you bring to the table, exactly what they need. So yeah, I don't know. In the spectrum, I like to think I'm a red pill, but I still have my blue pill tendencies. So yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are more blue pill than they're willing to admit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Like you'll see these guys talking about, oh, I'm getting laid every single night with these red pill tactics. I'm like, I know you're bullshitting, man. I see your VPN, my guy. I see your IP address, my guy. You're writing from a third world country where those stolen.
I know a lot of YouTubers that basically promote that, and they basically make a fortune off of like this whole red pill,
Yeah.
red pill books, red pill everything. It's like
Kevin Samuels is like one of them.
I was about to say that guy.
All he does is like bully black women.
wait, hold on, time on. That is not true. That is
Every
not
clip I
true.
see, he's just like destroying this black woman, and like
I
he only edits it in such a way where she's like a really toxic. Like, oh, I'm only after guys who'll pay for all my meals and like has to have a 7-figure salary and blah blah blah. I'm like, where do you find it? I feel like he goes on Jerry Springer and takes the rejects and puts them on his podcast or some shit.
Okay, so all right. Before I go in on the Kevin Samuels topic, we now on the topic of why are men convinced that red pill ideology works?
Yeah, why do
Should we go
people
into that?
think this works, guys? Yeah, that's
Okay. All right, so get into the whole Kevin Samuels thing.
Why is he famous?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Why is he famous?
Kevin Samuels, basically, I've been following Kevin Samuels since about 2017. Where
Oh, he's
basically
been out
covered,
that long?
yeah, since he basically covered like fragrance, fashion tips. He basically people think that he gets on the women hard. He gets on men as well. He basically started off his brand basically like from fragrance and critiquing men, assessing men, telling men how they should improve and things of that nature. But he slowly transitioned into women because obviously the YouTube algorithm respects that more. So as a content creator, what should you do? You're gonna continue to focus on what gives you the most views, right?
That's true, yeah.
You should be
You mean to
smart.
women gets us the most views, guys? Let's go.
You know what I mean? So that's basically how that whole thing came about. But
Yeah, you say he gets on guys so much of it, but it's like, why doesn't he post that? But yeah, I mean,
he does
whatever
post it.
gets.
He does post it. It's just that it just got buried in all the female content that he's done.
Yeah,
And
no,
that
I mean he does give good advice because like a lot of guys are think that if a woman is not feeling you, I have to make grand romantic gestures to convince her when you shouldn't have to convince her. You have to tell her how you're feeling her, or make that clear, And yeah, I guess Donnie wasn't ready to handle the truth. But you gotta just make that clear and see where it goes from there. If she responds for you, great. If she doesn't, then stop wasting your time because you're not going to convince anyone with like this by buying them like a dinner at like a 5-star restaurant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he gets on guys for doing that, when he gets on guys for doing that, then yeah, no, he has a point.
I mean, but at the same time, I just feel like I don't want people to think that Kevin Samuels is like, oh, like he just focuses on like degrading women, especially black women in particular, because at the end of the day, these women they call up on his show, ain't like he's seeking these women, like
No,
they
he's not
calling
getting
him.
them from Jerry Springer because they seem like Jerry Springer
No,
rejects.
like basically, like this is his format. Basically, like he sets up Zoom calls, right? He sends out, like puts the link in the chat. Everybody that wants to get on to get like an honest appraisal from Kevin Samuels, they jump on it. He's not telling like he's not basically like saying like, hey, like this woman over here, like come on my show, like let me critique. Like no, like these women they come on and basically like most of the time they make themselves look like a fool with some of the stuff that they say. Now is his criticism a bit too harsh? I think that's subjective. Me, I'm the type of person I'm like I value people that keep it real with me. Don't sugarcoat shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I value that the most. And those type of people I keep the closest to me. But yeah, some people like they need to be handled with kid gloves all the time. And so at a couple point in time, you have to be like, okay, like yeah, you might want that, but at the end of the day, is your life any better for it? Are you happy in this current situation that you're in? Sometimes you need somebody to like hurt your feelings a little bit. That's nobody want, obviously like nobody want their feelings hurt, but sometimes you need that to be like, you know what, after a while, like all those emotions are dealt with and all that, you be like, you know what, like like maybe this person made some honest points. Because to me, like if it hurts your feelings, then there has to be some truth to it and you recognize it. You're just ashamed that it's now out there for the whole world to see as well. So me, like I said, I think is his methods always the best? Do I agree with everything that he says and does? No, especially like one of the main things I disagree with him on about the whole thing about like a woman's dress size and she has to be like a certain size and whatnot. Like I don't necessarily
Yeah,
agree with that.
that sounds like it gets degrading after a point because, like,
Yeah,
guys are into different things. Some guys like bigger girls, some guys like skinnier girls. It's like a preference thing.
yeah, like that's crazy to me. But some of the things that he does say in regards to what most men value and want in women, like he is correct. Like to me, I think it's a great thing that women like have businesses and whatnot. Like shit, like I'm dealing. Well, I don't want to get too much of my business away,
Let's talk about that point.
but
Yeah,
I
cut
don't
that,
get
edit that.
I don't want to get too much away. But I'll just say this: like I admire and respect women that's out there, like trying to be their own bosses and set themselves up financially and career wise. But at the end of the day, if you are a self-respecting man, that obviously like you're gonna focus on those same things yourself. Now, does it benefit both parties if the man and the women are both after financial materialistic things? Because at the end of the day, I don't
Yeah,
understand why we got so much away from like roles in relationships.
yeah, you got a point. Like, not both parents can be like the main breadwinner, if that makes sense. Like they can't, like me ideally I am attracted to women. I am attracted to women for the same reasons that they say they're attracted to men. Like they have goals, they're resilient, they're on the path to success, they take care of themselves, they know what they're doing, they know what they want with life. Like I find those attractive. And like if I were to like establish myself with someone long term, and if their careers are like bringing more cash flow than mine is, then I'll just want that I forget what the phrase is in English for like income that you receive, but you're not like actively working, like from real estate and some shit, like
Residual.
passive income. Yeah, residual and passive income. Like if there's a point, I will be happy to, like quit my main career, only receive passive income, and just be there at home. I'm fine with the whole house husband thing. I won't be like a fucking 50s housewife with nothing of my own, of course, but if I have like a couple apartment buildings, a little houses, and I'm making money off that, then sure, yeah, you go, shorty, you become CEO, and I'll just, I don't know, gossip with the local dads.
Yeah,
That's fine with
but
me.
Yeah, but that's funny. But the main thing that he talked about, like, hey, like, yeah, like you can like have all those things, but at the end of the day, if you're a woman, you have like the house, the car, the career. Are you gonna really sell for a man that's less than that?
Hmm.
Because
That's
mind
true.
you, a man that has those same things, they're gonna like they don't really care if a woman has a degree, house, cars, a career, anything like that.
I do. I do. I ain't. Fuck out. I ain't dating someone who was in 7-Eleven and barely passed high school. Come on, man.
Okay, okay, that's cool and all, but like, let's say if you're like a 6 figure, 7 figure earner, does your woman have to be a six
Almost
figure,
there.
7 figure earner as well?
No, it'd be nice if she's close, but as long as she's earning, period, and is like fairly educated, that's fine with me.
But a woman that's a 6 figure, 7 figure earner, are they really gonna sell for a man that's not up to those standards?
Yeah, actually, here's the thing. Like I'll use my cousins as a sample. Like they're dogs. They're just dogs of a human being. Like I mean, like felons, like actual felons who have just done, have not made the best choices in life. Let's put it at that. They're pulling in girls who with Wall Street jobs, man. Wall Street jobs. Women with daddy issues that just like see the resemblance of their father figures in them and just like buy them Gucci belts after they've been cheated on. So yeah, some are. Everyone's different, but yeah, I'm saying like any self-respecting woman, yeah, no, she wouldn't like downgrade, but like a lot of women, a lot of men too aren't just self-respecting, man.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and like they're felons pulling in more game than us guys
Yeah, and
from
I feel
jail.
like that
From
teaches.
jail.
And I feel like that teaches us something because getting back to the top here, like why I've been convinced red pill ideology works. Because part of being a red pill is supposed to teach that like you have to be like a dominant personality. You have
Yeah,
to be a high value male in the sense that you have to make a certain amount of money. You
Hmm.
have to live up to a certain status. But at the end of the day, like those are all aspects that don't necessarily turn women on. Because like you said, like your
it's
cousins,
true.
what case may be, like they might be like no disrespect or anything like that, but going by what you're saying, kind of like low level guys, but they're able to pull like these women that
High
earn
level
all this
women.
money
Yeah,
because like hey, like at the end of the day, like the status is not really what sells like sells you to a woman or made them interested in you. If one of them is looks, that's a big key point, and also like your confidence. It's all
yeah,
about confidence at the end of the day. And when it comes down to this whole red pill, blue pill thing, especially red pill, I said, because that bitch was promoted in the manosphere nowadays. You have so many men trying to like read like an instruction manual in regards like how to be a man. They feel I had to be this way in order to get women. Well, you don't necessarily have to be that way.
Hmm.
You just have to be you have to be self assured in the type of man that you are. Like you're the type of man that hey, like, oh, I like to watch anime or like I like to like, go to like Comic Con and all that type of shit. Own that shit.
yeah.
Like just be you. Like don't try like hide who you are because you feel oh like I have to be a certain way to attract women. Cause they're gonna see right through that anyway. So you might as well just be yourself.
Yeah, honestly, filters out the bad ones, and like, I guess that answers the question. Like, the reason people are convinced this works is because there are a lot of factors that do actually work. Like what Liddell's saying, like if you're confident in yourself and who you are, you will attract people that respect that and like you for who you are, and you'll still get rejected, but you won't feel as bad, and you'll
That's part
filter
of
out those
life.
people faster. But like another dimension I want to add to this, it also depends on what the person's bringing, because I mentioned that a lot of these girls that they pull in have daddy's issues. I'm pretty sure guys think that the red pill is 100% right because they have terrible relationships with their mothers, and it makes them think that all women are either like Madonnas or whores. Like if you see The Sopranos, this guy has a borderline personality mother that actively tried to
Oh
murder
yeah.
him, and he is surrounded himself with different women. He has a lover, he has a wife, he has a female therapist, and in each of them, he projects all his issues with women onto them, and like it's it's like yeah, a lot of guys have like they had terrible relationships with their mothers. Either didn't get the whatever love and affection you didn't get from your parents in your adult life, you'll seek it in other people, and
Hmm.
it'll ultimately lead to the downfall of everything. So yeah, these guys the guys who are really gun ho about Red Pill just have mommy issues. What can I say? But yeah, I think we're ready to go to the last question if everyone else is.
All right. Unless Sean, you got anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the only reason why people, at least let's say with dudes, Could be anyone actually. The reason why these ideologies come up and stuff like that, and it's gonna sound like the softest kind of answer to give, but it's like it almost comes to like people, I guess, forgetting about putting, I guess, love and actual attraction into like what they're chasing and stuff like that. Because you hear like a lot of people will legit kind of come up with this whole kind of materialistic sense of how they view a base of relationship. Like you said, with the he has to look this way, he has to be this way, he has to be making this, or she has to be doing that with her life. A kind of like, but then like you said, you look at the different kind of oppositions in there where it's like someone has an attraction to somebody no matter what position they are in life. They could be the deadbeat person, they got the deadbeat person with the high end person. You got the high end person with the medium, whatever, stuff like that. All the mix and matches. It's like because those work simply because, yeah, maybe they're attracted to each other. They're actually appreciative of each other. But because of the ideology of like the people who feel like they need to either look a certain way, have a certain figure income coming in, give gifts to the person that they love, they kind of take away the actual factor of what's making I guess the connection work is that these two people actually genuinely love, like appreciate each other, and they're not necessarily trying to prove something. Kind of like what Kenny said with the people with the bad situations with their mom, where they're like, kind of been raised to give respect. I have to be the respectable person. I have to be making this. I have to be doing that. I have to be doing this with my life. And there are women and men, who will generally kind of look at a person and be like, "Oh, you could, like you said, you could be working at 7-Eleven. I love you." It's just like I just love who you are as a person. Like,
I wouldn't
you're owning who
recommend
you
it,
are.
but do you?
It's just like, like Liddell said, you're owning who you are as a person. Like, you watch anime, you do this, you like to write, you like to be a creative. It's just a lot of people will step out of that position of, do you actually love this person, or are you just looking to see what you can benefit from this person?
Because at the end of the day, when you first meet someone, you're not really so much focused on regards like, like I wonder what type of car he drives, or if he drives at all. Oh, I wonder how much he makes. Oh, I wonder what his career, like what type of career he has. Like these are not all things that you're immediately thinking when you're first meeting a person. The first two things that you know is obviously the person's looks and the person's energy. So those are like the main two things that you need to focus on. Now, granted, that's not necessarily enough for like a long term type of relationship, because obviously you have to have your shit in order. But in the meantime, like like if two people just enjoy each other's company and the vibe is right, you love each other, then like hey, like just go with that, and then you just figure else out, everything else out later. But guys like Kevin Samuels, and why people to understand about him is like he don't approach love as like or marriage as a feeling, so to speak. It's like you do certain things in a relationship despite what you feel, because relationships, especially marriage, is a duty more so than a necessary like a feeling. So I just want people out there that's like kind of like have this misconception about Kevin Samuels, like understand like that's the way he approaches things, and that's why he says the things that he says. But people such as himself should not be as the end all gospel in regards to like this is what you need to be as a man in order to find happiness in relationship, because that's not necessarily the case, because everybody's idea of happiness is subjective. Like you might be dealing with someone that hey like likes to go out, experience like the finer things of life. That's what they define as their happiness. But we might meet someone else that hey, like long as they're with you, they could be just be sitting on the couch chilling, like watching anime. They might not necessarily enjoy it, but the fact that you enjoy it and they love spending time with you, that's good enough for them. So everybody's idea of happiness is subjective. So we should not look to like these people on the internet or even us here on this podcast as they're like, hey, like this is the way it needs to be, because it's subjective at the end of the day. And people they only speak in regards to like their own perspective and how they feel that things should go, rather than what actually is.
That's beautiful, man. I
Thank
wish I paid attention. Sorry, I was on that. Where are we? We're moving on to the next question. That's where we are.
Kenny, man.
Shit. Woohoo. Yeah, great stuff, guys. Next question. I think the next question is kind of fun because it's like, not only what type of man do you model yourselves after, but is there a man in your life or not in your life that you know of that you model yourself after? Like, who do you want to be as a man? Because like, The red pill blue pill thing came out of a framework to men to follow, because it's a generation of guys that came out of a single woman household sometimes where they didn't have a father figure, so they're looking at all these different masculine figures for for inspiration. And that wasn't the case with me, but it must suck for those who did. But yeah, exactly. So what type of men do you model yourselves after? And if there's someone who comes to mind, please tell us why and who.
Well, for me, I know it might be like the cliche thing to say, or very conceited or ego driven to say, but for me, it's nobody. For me, it's nobody. I model myself after myself.
Mm.
Like, because we have to think about, for every great man or every definition of someone that's a great man, basically, like, you must ask yourself, like, who did they model themselves after? Like, was there somebody that they modeled themselves after? I feel like people subconsciously, like, they just do things off their own free will, like, not thinking, oh, like, because this person did this person my idol, I want to do things exactly the way that person did it. Like, with me, like, I just like, hey, like, these are the things that I like. This is what I go for. This is what I don't go for. This is what I am, who I am, so to speak. Because me, like, I'm a very weird. I'm kind of like a weird person to box in. Like, be like, I'm supposed to be a certain way. Because for one, I'm macho in the sense that I love sports. Like, I love, like, like, getting out there, being out there in the trenches. Like, being like my best self. We're gonna be like the best version of myself. Also, at the same time, I love teddy bears as well. Like, literally, I have a big ass teddy bear collection. And
Yeah.
people want to like associate that as like a manly thing, but hey, like, that's my thing. That's what I love. That's just how I am, so to speak. Like, I still have
Love
all
my
my
teddy bear.
like I still have all my shit since I was like 4 or 5 years old. Still in the
Mm.
same condition, peak condition and shit. Like, that's just me. So I just look at it like this, like, hey, people are gonna appreciate you for who you are. It might not be everybody, but there's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna appreciate you and what you bring to the table, just based on like who you are, rather than like, oh, like, you're really like an instruction man regards like how to be a man. Like, oh, I bought all these books, I attended all these seminars, I learned from all these different people, and that makes up who I am. Like, no, it's not like that at all.
Wow, man. That's true. There are like 8 billion people on this planet. The true love of your life is probably in like Burkina Faso or some shit. You really thought you were gonna get them in your hometown? You stupid bitch.
But shout out to all the great men out there. Like, but at the end of the day, I don't model myself after anybody. I try to be the first Liddell, not the fifth version of whoever else that was out there.
That's beautiful, man. Sean?
I'd say kind of like Liddell. There's nobody that I necessarily model myself after specifically, but I guess I take a lot of inspiration from, like, let's say, the guys who are comfortable with themselves enough to do things like, kind of like Liddell said. There's the people who are just like, I could watch sports, but I also have this collection going on, or I like this, or I watch these kind of movies and stuff like that. I like the people who are kind of like more, they're not necessarily trying to be the manliest man, the alpha man, the alpha male kind of situation where it's like I have to be ripped, sports, like, protein, women, sex, all the stuff like that. It's like I like the people who are kind of like themselves. They're just like, it's just like, yeah, I like anime. Sometimes I'm like, I played football. I like anime. I've done this. Like, I'm like, I don't sleep around. Like, maybe I don't sleep around, maybe I do. Because people who are like so gets comfortable with themselves that they're at least honest about who they are as a person. I kind of like, I find it like a lot of, I want to say, like, I kind of find disrespecting people who seem like they have to put up this image of, like, a certain character that they need to be in order to kind of get the approval or get the attention that they're seeking.
Yeah.
But if you're who yourself, like who you are confidently, it's just like you attract that kind of energy towards you. Like, I'll use the people like, who is it? I feel like as of late, I've definitely seen like people like maybe like Kid Cudi. I know like Kid Cudi has been like in the news a lot lately because he's been fighting like a lot of kind of gender norm kind of identities. Like, he's been shown with like nail polish. He's been shown rocking like almost like a whole dress or a skirt or something like that. And obviously some people are just kind of like, oh, like, what is he wearing? Stuff like that. And I could think about it and be like, I don't know if I have that amount of confidence to do it. But the fact that he's so himself it's very inspiring to me because it's just like he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. It's just like like and people like him for who he is, and some people obviously have a problem with it. I don't know if that says something to who they are as a person. Like, maybe they have their own insecurities that they need to deal with about gender norms or basically what it means to be this and that. But you're basically creating your own like version of your identity. And some people get with it, some people don't. So it's just like I like anybody, at least if I'm modeling myself after anybody, I'm modeling myself after people who are almost 100% themselves and at least able to back it up.
And Lakeith Stanfield, he's another one that's kind of like that. In a sense, like he just made a whole big thing about flowers on his IG post, like how like he loves flowers and shit. He loves receiving flowers and all that. So
like
I say, just own who you are as a person.
Like a lot of the male identity comes from that whole standard, like not the male identity. A lot of the whole male standard comes from the stereotypical back in the 50s. The male has to be the breadwinner. They have to be attractive to everybody. They have to be this. They have to be that. When it's just like, listen, that doesn't work in this day and age. If a dude wants to wear nail polish and still deal with women, it's working for him. It's just like, it's working for him. So why do you have a problem with it?
It definitely works for Prince.
Like, where'd you get that pedicure though?
Prince, exactly.
It worked for him.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll wrap it up. When I asked the question originally, like, it doesn't even need to be a person who actually exists. It just has to be like a male figure. And, of course, I preface it with like a lot of role models for people are their fathers. And like, yeah, that's pretty much my case. But, he had to work a lot, being an immigrant with 2 jobs and whatnot. So a lot of me, I had to fill in the gaps on my own with lots of TV characters. And honestly, my favorite guy so far has been Tony Soprano. I have to say it because outwardly he's like this big tough mafia man who's making money, and like Russian prostitutes are just like falling all over him, and he just steps over them like he doesn't give a fuck. But he's also like a very damaged individual. He has mommy issues. He treats every woman like either Madonna or a whore. So, and he goes to therapy, and I'm like, that's it right there. He's a tough guy, but he goes to therapy. He's honest about it, and he's working on his problems. And I like that. And I haven't killed as many people as him, but I'm working on it.
Okay, we're good about that.
Maybe just bleep the K word, and we're good.
Yeah, and Dominus here, I would have said Jesus Christ.
That's funny. My Muslim friends be saying Jesus Christ all the time, and I'm like, who the fuck you think you are?
But there's nothing wrong with modeling yourself. For all my believers out there, there's nothing wrong with modeling yourself after the Lord. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
Strong Jewish man. Model yourself after him.
See, okay, now maybe I felt like if I had to think about, let's say, somebody specifically, like I brought up like Kid Cudi, maybe Frank Ocean, kind of stuff like that. But I guess the one person would probably be almost like Will Smith.
I don't know.
Oh man, that man.
Not lately. He's been taking a lot of L's lately.
Yeah,
I would say it's like I would say in his sense of like honesty, kind of stuff like that. Like he's exploring and doing all this shit. Obviously, the relationship stuff that's going on with Jada, it's like not putting him in, I guess, best lights and all stuff like that. But there's honesty with him. It's just like
there's too much honesty. There's too much honesty from her and publicly. Like don't do that.
Not all that.
I look at the Will Smith situation from like a PR standpoint. The best thing for him to be at this point, where all that's transpired, everything that's been released, is to be transparent and honest. Because that's the best thing for his brand at this point. Because everybody sees it. Everybody came to their own conclusion about the situation. So it might be like, hey, like this is what it is. Like this is how. Like this is what it is. Like I have to own up to at this point because it's already out there.
Basically.
So you're saying that his PR firm made the media think he's a cuckold so they could sell more Will Smith DVDs?
I mean, like, that's the best. I mean, like Jada albums. Jada basically said in so many words that she basically settled for him. Like basically, her real love was Tupac Shakur.
Really?
So this is the man that she settled with.
Okay, guys.
So at this point, your wife is already soiled in your name. So like you can't come back with get back to a red pill, blue pill. You can't be like, oh, red pill, alpha machismo at that point. Like, you be like, yo, like this is the woman that you married. You've been with for over 20 years. This is
Divorce.
what it is. You know, like she basically had an entanglement with August Alsina. The man was in your house and shit. Like you can't win. Like you can't go against the facts.
I just wanted to know who Jada thinks she is. Okay, if you're watching this from YouTube, I want you to comment 3 movies you've seen Jada in without googling it. That is a homework assignment for our audience.
Set it off one. That's
3.
one.
I want 3. Like, come on, you're not an A-list actor.
Does TV shows count?
No,
Oh God,
I'm just saying
was that
when
Hawthorne.
they were saying the Oscars were so white, they weren't thinking of Jada. They didn't think that it was a crime that Jada didn't get nominated.
Oh, I agree, bro.
Scream for those like 5 minutes, the beginning.
I didn't even know she was in that.
Right?
You know she was in Scream?
No.
You see, that's because they kept hyping her up as like being a main star, and she got killed off in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was back. That was back when the black people got killed.
Or back when you can kill black people once good. But no, yeah, I think now's a good time to wrap it up because we're just gonna start roasting Jada the next 5 minutes, and then her PR team is gonna sue us. But yeah, anyways,
Hang in there, Will. I get the marketing tactic.
yeah, if you're hearing this, we'll do an interview from your side. But in any case, well, thanks for coming for the True Urban Culture, guys. We'll be publishing on Instagram, Facebook, on their website, as well as YouTube. So if you're on their newsletter, you'll get a notification most likely. And if not, please like, share, and subscribe with your friends so that we can bring more people into the TUC family, man. We don't have a family. We need you. Please come here. Yes, but like, share, and subscribe, and have a happy weekend wherever you are.
Yeah, peace out, y'all.
Bye.